In the last section, we discussed the stirring of a rebellion. The colonists were very upset with their mother country, Great Britain, because of various acts and taxes that were placed upon the colonists. Some of these include the Stamp Act, the Sugar Act, the Tax on Tea, the Declaratory Act, and the Intolerable Acts, just to name a few. The colonists began to boycott, which is a collective refusal to buy, sell, or use any goods that were produced in Great Britain. This helps the colonists to start to unite. These ideas helped to start a revolution. The Second Continental Congress was formed in May 1775. Colonial leaders come together in Philadelphia. They come together to discuss the various grievances that they have against their mother country, Great Britain. They are upset because they are being heavily taxed and they are not represented in Parliament, which is England's legislative body. At this meeting, they appointed George Washington as the commander of the Continental Army. George Washington is not our president yet, but he has experience with the French and Indian War, and the colonists have trust in him. They decide that it's going to be a great idea to print paper money to pay their troops. We know today that printing of paper money without the gold to back it up leads to inflation. So while the idea was good, in theory, it was not. The battle at Bunker Hill. In June 1775, Thomas Gage, who was a British general, we know that he was put in charge during the Intolerable Acts. He sends out 2,400 British troops, and they march up Breed's Hill towards the colonists. This is a misnamed battle in history. It should be named the Battle at Breed's Hill, but because somebody wrote it down, and they wrote it down incorrectly, it is called the Battle at Bunker Hill. The colonists shoot. 450 colonists die, but 1,000 British soldiers die. This is considered the deadliest battle of the American Revolution. So you have to imagine this. The British are marching up the hill. So the colonists have a better view because they're at the top of the hill. So they can see the British marching up. So that gives them a better perspective to be able to fire and to fire accurately. The Olive Branch Petition. In July 1775, the Second Continental Congress sent the Olive Branch Petition to Parliament. The olive branch is a symbol of peace. So they are going to ask King George III to return back to the former harmony between Britain and the colonists. They want things to be back the way they were before. Not only does King George reject the petition, he also urges Parliament to blockade the American coast with their navy. So this is like a slap in the face to the colonists. Not only does he reject the idea of going back to peace, but he also is going to block the coast. If he does this, the colonists can no longer trade with anyone at all. Common Sense. This was written by Thomas Paine. When it was written, it was anonymous. Be sure to know the difference between anonymous and unanimous. Anonymous means you do not know who the writer is. Unanimous means everybody agrees. So this was an anonymous 50-page pamphlet attacking King George III. We know today that it was written by Thomas Paine, but at this time, we did not know who wrote it because he would have gotten into a lot of trouble with the king. Paine declares that the time has come for the colonists to claim an independent republic. In other words, it's time to break away. It's our American destiny. Destiny means it was meant to be. He gives Americans the chance to create a better society. This pamphlet sold over 500,000 copies. Thomas Jefferson was a Virginian lawyer known for his broad knowledge and skillfully crafted prose, which means that he was a very smart man and a very good writer. So while he was attending the meeting, the Continental Congress meeting, they asked him to write down their ideas. So basically, he was the secretary at these meetings. Jefferson writes the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence gave the people the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It stated that all men are created equal. Today, we know that that means men and women. Free citizens are our political equals. However, back in 1776, this did not include women, Native Americans, or African slaves. In the Declaration of Independence, it also gave the government the power to alter or abolish any government that threatened their rights. So that means alter means change and abolish means to get rid of. So they could get rid of any government or change any government that went against the rights of the people. On July 2nd, 1776, the delegates voted unanimously, which means everybody, that the American colonies were free. And on July 4th, 1776, they adopted the Declaration of Independence. The 4th of July, the day that we celebrate our independence from Great Britain. We have two groups of people. We discussed this when we did the reading, and we also discussed this last section. We have the Loyalists and the Patriots. Remember, loyal is in the word loyalist. These are people, or colonists, that opposed independence and were loyal to the crown. And this is for a few different reasons. Number one, some felt a tie to the king. They had an allegiance to the king. They felt as though they could never break that. Other people who were loyalists just had no idea what the colonists dealt with. They had no idea about the taxes that were placed on them or the restrictions. Finally, there were people who just wanted to jump on the bandwagon, just like in sports. When the winning team is winning, you have all these fans who come out. So many colonists thought, Britain's going to win this war, so I want to be on the winning team. Native Americans felt as though colonists were a threat to their land. They felt if the colonists did win, they would lose a lot of their land. So they sided with Great Britain, hoping that they would be able to preserve their land. African Americans were also promised freedom from Great Britain if they fought and helped them win. Now we have the opposite side, which are the Patriots. Those are colonists who wanted independence. They wanted economic opportunity in an independent America, which means they wanted to be able to make money instead of having to send all their money back to England. Some of these people included farmers, artisans, merchants, landowners, and elected officials. Artisans are people who make things, usually a craft, and merchants are people who sell things. Quakers helped, but they did not actually fight. Quakers do not believe in fighting because they're very religious people. So yes, they supported patriots, but they would not fight. And African Americans. So you're going to find both African Americans and Native Americans fought on both sides.